there. I think I think the loss of Willie Gay Jr., while significant, won't hurt him as much because of the way these other two have stepped up.
Well, of course, you do everything for the Star now, so let's talk a little bit of Royals before we let you go. We'll do our full baseball roundup after the break, but Royals dropped the last two of the homestands, so I tab it an indifferent homestand, 5-4, but other teams are, struggling at times too, and the Royals are still in a wild card position. They get the ultimate elixir here over the next 3 days. After their second 14-game losing streak of the season, the White Sox have now reached the hallowed ground of a .250 winning percentage, only held by the New York Mets. So I never thought that would happen, and they might really challenge that. The Royals need to make hay with the White Sox just like everybody else does. Where's your pulse check on the Royals right now? Yeah,
you're right. There they are. They're running down the 62 Mets, the Ed Kranepool Mets. So we'll see. I was so disappointed that they didn't. I thought the rubber game against the Diamondbacks when they lost that game. I thought they got unlucky with a ball strike call that didn't go their way, and that opened the floodgates in the ninth inning for a loss. And then they come out and win the opener with a 6-run inning against the Cubs, and thinking, okay, they're in good shape. And there's but to lose the next two, especially with Lugo and Cole Reagan's pitching, that's pretty. I was pretty demoralized by that and thought, ooh. At home against the Cubs with your all-star pitchers, you gotta split that at least and win the series. And they couldn't get that done. So you're right. They go into the go to the White Sox, and nothing less than a sweep I think is going to be expected at this point. And the schedule grows some fangs here pretty soon, right? They're going to have a really tough stretch. In fact, most of the way home is going to be tough for them. But what I think about with the Royals is they do okay. They've held their own against some of the better teams in the league. So still hopeful, still fingers crossed that they can play some meaningful baseball in September. I'm not so sure they've got the lineup that can get it done ultimately, but I'm not so convinced there are other teams in the American League that are much better. So just hang in there, stay in that 6 to 12 games over 500, and I think they'll be fine coming down the stretch.
Well, you mentioned losing that final game of the series. They're 3-11 now in series-deciding games. That's one stat that's not so good for them, and we'll see over the next few weeks. I think they will be in it at the very least, but it's created more fun and more time when you're not just talking about the Chiefs at this time of year at training camp, Blair. Always appreciate the time. Thanks for jumping right on after the practice today, and we'll talk to you again down the line.
Always great talking to you, Danny.
Blair Kerkhoff from the Kansas City Star, talking Chiefs and a little Royals with us on Monday Musings, Danny and Friends Sports Wrap. Much more to come. It's presented by ASFCA.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Did you experience hail damage last year and never got the work done? Most insurance companies only give you a year to get the roof fixed. And if you don't get it done, you could possibly not be compensated in full for the replacement of your roof. If you've been procrastinating getting that damaged roof taken care of, give us a call at 913-257-5426. And we'll send out an expert to help you through the process. We're never pushy, we're just here to help. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. Our thanks to Blair Kerkhoff as we talked about Chiefs and Royals, and we'll extend that baseball-wise out to our baseball roundup. All the teams looking at the trade deadline. Some teams have made some moves. The Yankees have been active. The Mariners have been active. The Royals have not been active. They made a trade a couple of weeks ago for a reliever, but have done nothing else as of the time I speak right now. The Baltimore Orioles could be active as well. They have picked up a pitcher or two so far, but they have a rich farm system and plenty of ammo to go out and do something. They were winners on Sunday, but have only split their last 10, but that's been good enough to pick up a game on the Yankees, who won 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox over the weekend, which was good news for the Royals. The Yankees are a game back. The Red Sox are 6.5 back of the Orioles. They have dropped 7 of their last 10 games, and that's been good news for the Royals because even though the Royals, as we've talked about, have split their last 10 games, that has allowed them to get back into wild card position because the Red Sox haven't done much. The Rays keep trading players and keep winning games. They've won 6 of their last 10. They won their last 2 over the weekend. There are a couple games over 500. They do it the Rays way. They change pieces, but somehow are a winning team no matter what. I'm sure the Toronto Blue Jays would like to emulate that, as the Blue Jays trying to find some traction. They're probably a little too far out now with too many teams to pass, but they've played pretty good ball of late. They complete a weekend sweep, and we've won 6 of their last 10. The Guardians have been sort of treading water for, 3 weeks or so right now, but that's still good enough for a 4.5 game lead in the American League Central. The Twins had been hot for a while, but they've stalled. They've had quite a few injuries of late. They've lost Carlos Correa and others, and they are 4.5 games back. The Royals are 6.5 back in the division, but still with that 1 game lead in the wild card over the Red Sox. And actually, the Royals, 1 game lead. It's actually even in the loss column right now. Royals will play the Tigers on the upcoming road trip, and the Tigers have played pretty well of late, although they've split their last 10. But the Tigers are viable right now, and we'll see if they trade off some pieces. But they need a hot streak right now. We're inside 60 games to go, just about, in the season. So, that's the thing about making trades. You're making a trade for a rental player of less than 60 games, and maybe that player isn't even your property, so people are looking for players who have some years left of club control. Houston has been playing good ball for a while, but the Dodgers slowed them down over the weekend with a loss, or actually the Astros won the first 2, lost the third, but the Mariners, well, they just played the White Sox. And who gets hot in baseball? Whoever plays the White Sox. And that's for sure. The Mariners had been on a long, bad stretch, but the White Sox took care of that as they get a sweep. They have been very active in the trade market so far. The Texas Rangers almost crawled back to within 500, but then they lost over the weekend all 3 of their games. And so they've fallen once again back to 4 games under 500. 500 is still in it in both leagues. The wild card is 7 games over 500, the last wild card in the American League, and 5 in the National League. That's held by the Mets. We'll get into that in a minute. The Angels and the Athletics are 2 of the teams that are out of it, although the Athletics have scored the most runs in baseball over the last month, and despite losing on Sunday, had won 7 of their last 10. The Phillies had enough leeway that losing 7 games out of 10 has not hurt them, especially when the Braves behind them have lost 6 of their last 10. Both of those teams are going to be in the playoffs, but both of them have not played their best ball for quite a while now. The Mets have played pretty good ball for a while. They lost a couple over the weekend, but they won the season series against the Yankees 5-2. That makes Mets fans happy, of course, and they are the team that is in the last wild card position now at 55-50. Nationals and Marlins rounding that out. Nationals have been a little better than expected, but it's still 8 games under 500. In the Central, the Brewers just crank out wins. That's what they do. They're steady, methodical. I think every week we sit here and they've won 6 of 10. That basically is what they do. They haven't gotten really hot. They haven't gotten really cold. And so they are the team that right now holds the American League Central by a lusty 6 games over the Cardinals. Cardinals in that wild card chase. So are the Pirates. And the Cubs maybe think they are. They look like they're being an active team. You saw them over the weekend. Looks like a pretty decent club. Pitching is what they need. They're a handful of games under 500, and the Reds have been disappointing, although exciting. Ellie De La Cruz has continued to be a very exciting ball player. 50 steals, power, good glove work, but it hasn't translated into what was expected of the Reds this year. They are in the cellar, 10 games back. They're tied with the Cubs. Dodgers have got it going, and they've been making some deals as well. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros on the weekend, but prior to that had been on a hot streak after the All-Star break. They have a big fat lead over the Padres, who are in wild card position right now at 57 and 51, and the Diamondbacks are right in that fight too at 55 and 51. You saw that team on this homestand against the Royals. And the Giants keep hanging around, a couple of games under 500. They've had... I know more about the Giants than I should, because every time I get in the car, if they are playing and John Miller is announcing the innings, I will be listening, and I did yesterday, and they won their game yesterday. They've won 4 in a row to keep hopes alive in the wild card, and the Colorado Rockies are the team bringing up the bottom in the National League West. Local soccer of the weekend provided smiles. Now, the Kansas City Current's playing great in their league, and they are playing an out-of-league competition. There's a couple of those this summer for them. They win over the Mexican club Pachuca 3-0. Obviously, entertaining the fans again. They're a high-scoring bunch. Score 3 in that one. It just about ensures that they will make the semifinals of that particular tournament. There are 5 groups, 4 teams win. Kansas City Current has a good goal total differential now of +3 after that win, and they'll likely be playing in the semifinals of the Summer Cup. It's the League's Cup for Sporting Kansas City. Now they're in the semifinals of the U.S. Open Cup, and obviously they're in big trouble as far as the playoffs in the MLS regular season is concerned. 9 points out right now, but they pick up a 2-1 League's Cup win, and they have gathered enough momentum in all of these different competitions, but the early part of the season has put them in bad position as far as MLS Western Conference play is concerned. But an impressive performance against Chicago. They fall behind 1-0 against the run of play on a goal in the 22nd minute, but Robert Castellanos scored a little bit before halftime, and then Willie Agata, who keeps on scoring, got himself his 11th goal in all competitions, and he scored in the 76th minute. Great feed from Stephen Afrifa, who was very active. Sporting hit the woodwork a couple times. They had far more shots, double the shots of Chicago, more shots on goal. They were the better team all night long, and they get the victory in League's Cup, and they will be playing a very busy schedule in League's Cup play, and it looks like they're advancing along in the out-of-league performances, and that's one good thing about soccer. They have these other competitions, and you can win some hardware, and you have something to play for outside of the league if you're not playing well, and Sporting has done that, and maybe we'll be able to salvage something out of what has been overall still another disappointing season, and big changes have been promised and will be coming for Sporting Kansas City. Mentioned before in the Open that I haven't been full go on the Olympics yet. Like I say, when I get up and go work out before I figure out what I'm going to watch on DVR, my base station will be either USA Network or NBC, so watched a little bit of water polo, team handball, but I just haven't sat down and watched 2 or 3 hours of Olympic competition. The gymnastics is going on. I'm not a big fan of the gymnastics, so I don't really care that much about that. The U.S. had a very impressive win over Serbia in basketball yesterday. Kevin Durant, who's been a standout whenever he's played for his U.S. national team, had a great game. And they look like they are on their way trying to win their 4th consecutive gold medal. But far and away, my favorite part of the Olympics is track and field, and the track and field hasn't really cranked up yet, so I haven't paid that much attention to that. But I like the Olympics. I mean, certainly there's controversies all the time, and, it's probably not what people think of it as what it used to be, but It's great competition for many, many of the athletes. To me, it's a cool thing because they are spending their life's work, in most cases, many cases of Olympic athletes, not to get rich.